Today we're going to be looking at a free software called GeoGebra. So when you go to geogebra.org, this is the home screen. It has an option to start graphing or classroom resources. You also have a little toolbar on the side for your profile if you decide to make one. We're going to go to App Downloads, and this brings you to a bunch of apps that GeoGebra offers that you can actually download to use offline. So if you don't have internet or for some reason the internet's not working, you have the apps downloaded on your computer, so you would just have those ready at any time. For this video, we are going to use GeoGebra Classic 6, so we're going to click Start, and it will load it right here on the computer. And this is the screen that it brings you to. You can choose Graphing Geometry 3D Calculator, the CAS, which is the calculator, spreadsheet, probability. Up top we have our different tools. This is the Move tool. You have points and anything to do with points, lines, segments, rays, vectors, parallel, perpendicular, angle bisectors, tangents, line of best fit, different kinds of polygons, circles, ellipses, angles, reflections, rotations, and translations, sliders, and a movement tool. So we're going to stay on this pointer tool for now. This left-hand side is your history, so any button that we click will actually show up on this side. This button right here will give you different options, so you have sort by and algebraic descriptions, and you can hide that button away. This button over here, you can take away your axes or put them back. You can also change the grid. You can have no grid, the normal grid, a web, and a pattern. So we're going to stay on the normal grid for this purpose. So now we can just kind of mess around with GeoGebra and see what we can do. So we're going to click point, and if you click points, they're already labeled. They can just kind of go wherever, and as you can see, they pop up over here in your history. Point on an object. Well, we don't have an object quite yet, so we are going to make a polygon. You can just click it wherever you like. Make any kind of odd shape, just make sure you connect it. Now we're going to do point on an object and click here. We can also hide these. So show hide label. You can hide the labels on the sides. Oh, we want that one back. Alright, so now we just have our points. We can also find midpoints, extremum, and roots on graphs. We can create lines, which they never end, they continue on and on. We can also do segments and rays. We can do vectors. We can also do perpendicular lines. So if we selected that line, we put this here, these two lines are always going to be perpendicular. We can do parallel. So we click on this one, and we can bring this parallel line anywhere. Create circles. And it creates a point on that circle when you finish it. You can also do a semicircle. You can do a circular sector. You can do it on your circle. And you can also move that around, and it changes as you go around the circle. We have ellipses, and they change about your points. Angles. As you see, between E1, F1, and G1, we have an angle right here, 68.95. You can reflect about a line. and now I1 and H1 are reflected. So now we want to use GeoGebra to create some sort of activity for our students. So if we click these little 3 bars over here, we can click File and New, and we won't save this playthrough. So now we have a whole new area to play with. We'll bring these axes back over here. So now what we can do is we can create an activity for our students that is both interactive and fun. So GeoGebra can be used for looking at relationships between values, shapes, slope, area, functions, and angles, among many other things. So what we're going to do for this is we are going to create a polygon. And I'll start off with making points. So we'll put a point here. And we're just going to do a regular triangle. So now we're going to connect these points. And we will hide our labels for the sides for now. And with this great tool, we can actually do area. So if we want to find the area of this shape, we can just click on it, and it gives you the area. As you move the triangle around, the area of triangle ABC also changes. So we have a dynamic shape. What we can do is we can put the measures of these points on each angle. So we can do angle CAB, we can do angle ABC, and we can do angle BCA. And now we can see the angle measures, and you can move them as well so they're a bit more visible. These will also change as you move your triangle around. What we can also do is create an assignment based on this figure we have here. So we can ask them the relationship between angles and sides. We can ask them how to find the area based on what's given. We can't do any kind of right triangle properties as this is not a right triangle. You could try and drag it to be a right triangle, but of course it's difficult to get it to be exact. But what you can do is change the label, which is kind of cool. You can also type in if you want to change what the area would be, but we don't need to do that here. You can also save any kind of assignment that you create, so you can put it into whatever cloud or online thing that students have to access work. So you can save that, put it in there, and have them save their own answers, and you can see the history over in the left of what they did to get their answers. You can open a new document, you can download, print, all that kinds of stuff. So what GeoGebra also offers is all of these different tools. So you can do the calculator, and you can type in things like 5 plus 3 and it'll do it. You can also type in functions. So if you type in function and you click the little circle on here, it actually graphs the line for you. And you can't really move the line, it won't do anything unless you do something to the line. We also have 3D graphics, and it will graph everything on a 3D plane. we can do a spreadsheet, and it'll bring up the spreadsheet here. And as you can see, it does everything in columns. So you have your history, your calculator, the graph, the 3D plane, your spreadsheet, and you can do probability calculator, and it gives you a normal curve. You can manipulate this curve, putting in your intervals. You can also put in your mean and your standard deviation, and it'll change it for you. You can go to statistics, and it'll give you all of the information. So we're going to click out of that. We've got graphics and construction. So there are many things that you can do, and GeoGebra also offers, if you go back here and go to the home page, they also offer classroom resources. So you can actually create an account and go in and use different activities based on what you want to teach that day. So what you can do is, we're in math, so let's say we want to do a functions lesson. And once this loads up, we'll be able to see what kind of functions do we want to do. Do we want to do calculus? Do we want to do logarithmic? Do we want to do polynomial? For ease, we'll do linear. And we can scroll down, and there's lots of activities on linear equations. So GeoGebra is actually a very useful tool in the classroom because you can access it online and offline. It's very easy for students to use, and you can save assignments and bring them into the classroom as kind of a fun hands-on activity.